here in Las Vegas at UFC 296 Media Day with the former champ, Cody Garbrandt. Cody, we've almost seen you kind of grow up a little bit in this sport, and I felt like your last performance against Trevin Jones was perhaps your most mature performance so far. What was the strategy going into that one, and why did you have the game plan that you did?
With a new camp, new coaches, new teammates, obviously moving to Vegas, there's a lot of new things going on. So I work a lot with Dewey Cooper, and technical striking, output, patience, not have to rush things. And we had an opponent switch, 5 weeks out from the fight. Luckily, it was still a southpaw, so we were still working southpaw work. Just being calm and patient in there. I was really looking to open up, but he really wasn't giving me much. I was kicking him a lot hard, and I think that's really what stopped him from coming forward. I just stayed patient and picked my shots, and did what I had to do to get the win.
So you stayed in Vegas again for this camp as well.
Yeah, I actually live here now. So
yeah, so you're based here. Tell me about your camp a little bit. I know Dewey Cooper, we just saw, he was in Francis Ngannou's corner for the Tyson Fury fight. Who else are you working with, and what has camp been like for you?
Dewey's great. He's phenomenal. I mean, he's black and white. It's all pinpoint accuracy, sharp to the point. Get the punches back and a little bit of movement. So that was great. Putting the hands and the feet together, flowing together in the kickboxing style that he flows together with. This camp has been great. I got Chase Pammy. He runs a phenomenal Gold Rush Wrestling Academy out of here. He was an All-American with Cal Poly, wrestled on the USA team under Jordan Burroughs, with the likes of those guys. So the wrestling's been just solidified with him. Doing that just religiously each week since I moved out here. So that's a big thing. Getting back to those wrestling roots, that grind, there's nothing like it in the wrestling world, to have that conditioning and just knowing that you can wrestle if needed to be. With my striking this camp, I worked a lot with Mateus Nakao. He is Nova now, one of Jose Otto's coaches. Phenomenal. He's my weight, my size. He flows, he moves. In the pad work, or try to take takedowns on you. He's constantly, making you work and keeping you on rhythm. Not just hitting pads, waiting for the pads to come. You're feint and you're staying elusive in there. A lot of people get stuck on hitting pads and waiting for the combo, and then when it's real live action, you got your adversary throwing at you. So that's been great. Worked a lot this camp with Alex Perez.
Yeah, so you're working with him and Lance Palmer too, right?
Yeah, and Lance Palmer. I mean, a lot of these guys have been great assets. Have been showing up. There's another kid. They call him Lazy Boy. He's a Mexican fighter. He's probably be in the UFC real soon. He come and give me good sparring. Amir Abazi, Jose Torres actually is fighting in Brave, defending his title the day before my fight. So got a lot of good work with those guys and sparring, and just felt like I'm the complete package going into this fight.
You sound like, just like talking to you, you sound like you feel like you're well prepared, like you sound confident.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, always, physically, but emotionally, mentally. I've had no injuries this camp. I haven't missed a day of training, not one session, and that's my confidence comes in my conditioning, and I know that I'm able to go in there and have the highest pace from start to finish to whoever, either knock him out, choke him out, or just, beat him up for 3 rounds. I know that he's not willing to survive that and willing to go those deep waters that I'm willing to go.
What are you looking to get out of this fight? Because I felt like that fight against Jones, like you mentioned, short notice opponent, stuff like that, you were just trying to get the win, and it was a fairly dominant, right? It was a one-sided win.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in this fight?
And just going back to having fun, moving back, moving to Vegas, new coaches, new teammates, not being with alpha male. That was tough. Those are guys who, came out there 1-0. I was built into a world champion at 11-0, and, those guys, it was tough. It was tough with a new thing, but it was time. It was time for me to, evolve as an adult. My son was here. I couldn't be away from my son, so that was ultimately why I moved and had to make that decision to move to be in my son's life, and just let everything else fall into place. I think I was trying to control too much. And this how this fight even transpired with Joe Rivas, the new matchmaker. Just everything's falling in place this camp. And from the last camp was very, very tough camp on me. Physically, I was very injured, tore my knee, tore my hip, tore my back. It was one thing after another. Tried to stay in the fight until the last week. I got the injections about 3 weeks out from the fight, and they didn't help at all. And it was I hate pulling out of fights, because I've been on the opposite end of it too, for my opponent. I'm glad they were able to get him a replacement. He did his thing. We'll maybe meet in the future. I know he's got a fight coming up as well. So I'm just focused on Brian. He's got some tools. He's got some power in his hands. He's got a good guillotine, and for me, it's just this is the best I've felt in all my camps. I haven't been able to train this consistently and this much skill work since I was getting ready for Dominick Cruz. So I feel like my skill level is off this planet.
Just last couple of things, and you mentioned Kelleher, and your career has been kind of like a little bit of an unorthodox one in the UFC because you rose so fast, and you were already fighting like legends like Dominick Cruz very early in your UFC career, even early in your pro career if you look at your overall record, and now you're kind of like in another part of your career, and you're fighting guys that maybe are not as well known as the TJ Dillashaws and not as known as Dominick Cruz's. How do you like adjust mentally to that? Because you were in the title fights, you were in the main events, and now you're and I don't want to talk bad about Brian Kelleher.
No, not at all.
He's just not as well known as some of the others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That guy's got a ton of fights, over 30 professional fights. He's battle tested. He's been in there with Henan Brow. He beat Henan Brow. He beat some some nice guys, bigger name guys. He's battled back from injuries and setbacks, so he's battle tested. Everybody in the UFC is not an easy fight, no matter if they're TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, Dominick Cruz, Uriah Fabers, and these guys. Like everybody's tough, and it's that unknowing what's going to happen. He looks at me as he's going to try to build a name off of me, and it's my job not to let him.
It's a tough spot for you because now you're on the other side of that because you're the name guy that some of the younger guys are trying to beat.
Yeah, I used to let that kind of like fuck with me a little bit in my mind, but I'm like, you know what? I worked too hard for this. I worked too hard to overcome so much adversity in my life to be where I'm at, just to go out there and half-ass it. So I go on there, I put everything into this. My mind, my body, my soul. Being engaged from the first bell to the end, just in training. Sometimes it's you have long, hard camps, and you have to grab that balloon and bring it back to where you're going to go, and your direction, and your engagement, and your focus. And it's been nothing but focus and engagement, and you see everything falling into place. And I'm excited to go out and paint a masterpiece on Saturday.
Last thing I saw, an interview that Uriah Faber did recently, it might have been with Ariel Helwani. He said he's willing to patch things up with TJ Dillashaw. I'm not sure if you saw this.
Yeah.
Same for you, or maybe?
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm in. TJ's no longer in the UFC. You see his career and towards the end of it, and that's the reason why what he was, the substance he was taking, his body wasn't able to uphold, and good for him. Hats off to him for what he was able to do. But there's always going to be an asterisk, and there should be an asterisk throughout his name and whatever he's done in his career. I know wholeheartedly that I can go through my whole UFC career and not ever have to take any performance-enhancing drug, and just believe on my abilities, my skills, my mental fortitude, and he has to live with that. He has to live with that, with decisions that he's made. And I don't have any hatred or animosity for him. It is what it is at the end of the day. I'm here, he's not.
You think he'll come back?
You think he'll come back
to the UFC? You think he'll come back?
I doubt it. I truly doubt it. I think that I don't know. That's up to him. It's up to him. But I just don't think that he's ever going to be the TJ Dillashaw that was in the past, and they're for obvious reasons.
Cody, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday.